Good morning and welcome to the Core Connection. I'm Mira Rubin here with you on Enlightened World Network. And today's topic is stepping up when we are confronted by a new dimension of possibility for ourselves that is calling us to rise to a new level. It can often be terrifying, and we get to talk about that this morning. And good morning, Rosalind. Happy Monday to you and to everybody else who's joining us. It's great to be here with you. And so today's topic is stepping up. But before we get started, we're going to take a couple minutes to get present. So let's take a deep breath in through your nose and hold it. And imagine clean, crisp oxygen flooding your lungs, flowing into your bloodstream, nourishing all your cells, all your organs, bringing vital life energy to your body and being. And as you exhale any tension, stress, negativity, fatigue. And now let's take another deep breath in through your nose and hold it. This time, imagine brilliant, bright light lighting you up from the inside out, illuminating, electrifying, and energizing all your cells, your molecules, your electrons, creating this brilliant beam of light from your heart out into the world. And as you exhale any remaining tension, stress, negativity, fatigue. And now let's press our palms together and vigorously rub those hands together. Feel all that friction, the temperature, the pressure. And when you stop, feel all the tingling and tickling and allow all those sensations to bring you present right here, right now, into this remarkable physical form that enables you to experience life. Welcome, welcome, welcome. So, stepping up. I don't know if you guys have had the experience of a calling, like an awareness that there's a whole new level of possibility, maybe responsibility, available to you. Where this conversation is coming from is a course that I've mentioned to you guys that I've been taking from an organization called Regenesis. And the course is the Regenerative Practitioner Series. And we're almost at the end of it. We had an intensive over the weekend, starting on Thursday. So it was Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. It was intense. It was an intensive. So the thing in this work is really that it foundationally, it's learning how to think differently and learning how to generate truly new ideas, new awareness, new perspective, new potential. And so we did a lot of introspective work as well, reflecting on our own projects, our own processes, our own ways of thinking, of being. And this course was very disruptive, I would say. That was one of my descriptors, and that seems to be a word that I'm using more and more lately. But disruptive to old patterns, old ways of thinking, and consequently old ways of being, and looking at things in their greater context. So that was also a foundational principle, is to be conceiving of things in a good way, Rosalind, disruptive in a good way. But any kind of disruption is uncomfortable as all get out, right? So it's very unsettling. But that's not a bad thing. It's like shaking things up so you can reconceptualize them is powerful. So anyway, one of the things that I started looking at is my coaching practice, and the thing is that part of regenesis and regenerative thinking has to do with or is founded in these frameworks that give you a vehicle for exploring these ideas that can then catapult things to a new level, like not a template as much as guidelines for how to be looking at things that in a way that generates new potential. So I was looking at my coaching practice, and I recognize that, I do primarily one-on-one work, but we have a weekly group that we get together with. And I realize that there's potential in utilizing this group that has been untapped. And I started looking at what might be possible for the individuals within the group by utilizing the group as an entity, as a living thing in and of itself, rather than as a collection of individuals that just have this work in common, to be looking at the vitality and the potential of the group. And what it called me to was another level of engagement with my purpose in doing this work, which was really, really interesting. So looking at what the reason that I do this work is really to be forwarding the global shift in consciousness, one person at a time, but the people that I'm working with are people that are influencing other people. And so by shifting these people, then they have a greater potential to be shifting out other people. And so in recognizing the potential of the group, to be what came to awareness is the opportunity for people in this group to be having a group dynamic that actually forwards their connection to a greater group, and in their own lives as well, and to be making them more aware of their own processes and the collective process of the awakening and transformation that's taking place in the individual work. So I don't know if that makes sense, but what I saw was a much bigger potential. And in the process of seeing that, and this was the part that was the stepping up part, what I saw was the potential for the impact that, well, first of all, recognition for the impact that this work and my involvement in this work, like who I am in this work, is bigger than I've been allowing it to be. And therefore, like, my role in making a difference is bigger than I've allowed it to be. I've just kind of been going along just doing what I'm doing, and kind of been keeping myself sort of small about it. Like keeping it very contained. And what I recognized is that there's potential for a much greater impact. And when I realized that, what set in was terror. Well, which is really interesting. Like I show up here and we have these great conversations. And the thing is that one of the reasons that it is so easy for me to do that and enjoy that is because I'm thinking of it as a small and intimate group. It's not like thousands of people that are engaged in this, right? It's just a small collection of people that are connecting with each other. And so Rosalind says, breaking down the conceptual model is very disruptive. Yeah, it really is. When the mind doesn't have anything to grab onto, there's no ground to step up from. Does the stepping up require some groundwork first? So that's where these frameworks come in, which is really interesting, Rosalind. So there's a tetrad that has 4 points, and trying to understand these points, like what the distinctions are, is a real interesting challenge. But there's the ground and the goal, and then there's the well, I'm trying to remember on the generic tetrad what this next point is, but it's like the motivation and then the direction. And so these 4 points give you a way to be starting to look at a project, for example. And then also, like, what's the project? What's the vision? And, it gives you a way to sort of ground yourself in this exploration. But understanding this tetrad or this framework as a vehicle has its own challenges, to get it integrated into a deeper understanding of how to utilize it as a tool. But anyway, so Robin, yes, hi, welcome. I can see you now. So if you guys are writing comments and I'm not responding, it's because I don't see them. So if you want to be engaged in the conversation, which we would love to have you join us, is go to the Enlightened World Network Facebook page and put your comments there. And then when I see them, I will respond to them. So welcome, Robin. Great to have you here with us. So what I noticed when I saw this greater potential was that it required me to step into a whole different level of willingness, even to be visible. So one of the, and it's funny because, like I am here on a daily basis, but like I said, I have this experience of this, that it's a very small and intimate group, despite the fact that it's available to people on Facebook and YouTube. I have this idea that not that many people are seeing it, and we're just this cozy little group. But when you think about the potential to be influencing hundreds, if not thousands of people, or tens of thousands of people, like people who have this broader influence, the thought of that was terrifying to me, I have to say. And yet what I recognize is that there's a greater possibility available if there is the willingness to step into it, like that. So Robin, all I saw is the word did. And I don't know if you put anything more in there. So I saw, can you see me now? And then I saw the word did, ... And that was about it. So I don't know what the challenge might be. But Rosalind's saying, I see you. Anyway, I'm wondering if you guys have ever encountered an awareness that you really, Robin says, I moved from your page to enlightenment page. Now you see me. Exactly. Unfortunately, when you're on my personal page and making comments, I don't see them. You have to go to Enlightened World Network's Facebook page. And then I can see your comments and I'll respond to them. So anyway, I'm wondering if you guys have ever recognized an opportunity for you to step up and into. Oh, so Robin, the subject today is stepping up to the next level of your expression. And it doesn't necessarily, the way that we know that the next level is for real and available to us is, first of all, we know it's an expression of our essence. Second of all, we know like it has to happen. And third of all, you get this oh shit moment. Like the oh no, the resistance and the terror, and the I don't wanna, or I don't know if I can. Oh, that's another one, is that it has to be that it's beyond your level of ableness, meaning it's calling you to become something more than you currently are, or than you currently know how to be, or calling you to do something that you don't know how to do. And yet you're compelled into this future. It could be, it's something that you always experience when confronted by your vision or life purpose. This stepping up, this invitation that is really more of a something compelling you, something requiring this of you, calling you forward. And it's more than an invitation. It's like, you've got to do this, kind of, right? And it creates a level of excitement while at the same time creating this oh shit moment, like, uh-oh, what, uh-oh, like, how do I do that? Or I don't want to do that, or I'm terrified to do that, or, I don't know how. I know it has to happen. And so I'm wondering if you have experienced that in your life, and like this work that I have been doing with this organization, Regenesis, it kind of is a breeding ground for that kind of growth, that kind of calling you into the next level of play, the next level of expression for whatever it is you're being called to rise to. So Rosalind says stepping up as in role to fill, or rather than expressing. Filling shoes makes it sound like the void has to be filled. That's kind of it. Like you're being called into this space to fill this space that is yours, compared to the notion you already have the wisdom. I just need the space and energy to be expressed. Exactly. So this is your higher self. Essentially, this is you tuning in to the higher self, calling you up and saying, yo, time for you to get busy here on this whole other level. And the thing is, you don't know how, you don't feel capable. It's overwhelming in a certain respect. And yet you know that that's where you get to go. And Robin says, yes, I've had numerous moments, although life situations interfered. So here's the thing, those moments that are calling you forward, it is your higher self, your authentic soul, whatever, giving you a ringy dingy, saying, hey there, come on, let's play. And I think it takes a lot of courage to step into that. You say, although Robin, life situations have interfered, maybe those life situations are part of the training ground to be able to step into those places. Maybe those life situations are part of whatever that stepping up the game is about. Like stepping up and stepping out, and it may not look like this process of stepping up may not look the way you think it should look. It may not be easy. It may not be, realize that it's beyond our capabilities. So then we get to be in a space of faith somehow to say, okay, I'm making this commitment. We get a chance to step into it and make that commitment. And then when we make that commitment, ultimately the universe aligns, because that commitment is part of what we came here to fulfill. That commitment is part of the expression of our soul's purpose. And so when we can reject that calling, but if we reject the calling, what it costs us is our vitality. What it costs us is our fuller expression. What it costs us is expression of our essence. To be able to make those choices, to be able to follow that calling takes courage. It does take courage, because it means stepping into the unknown in a big way. Like, I don't know how I'm going to do it. I don't know how it's going to happen. I don't know who I have to be, and then we get to look at, well, who do I need to be fulfilling that calling? And that in itself can be a daunting prospect. The thing is that once we step into it, there's so much greater vitality available to us. There's so much greater fulfillment and aliveness available to us when we step up to those callings. And we don't have to know how or why. The foundational thing there is to have the faith that that calling showed up for us because we are capable, because it is the calling that we're meant to hear. It is the calling that we're meant to follow, and that's why it showed up. And therefore, the vehicle, the potential will appear as we step into it, as we receive it, and as we allow ourselves to be in service to it. And that's the thing, is it's not about you. It's not about me, which is kind of an ironic thing to say, given that I'm talking about that it's a deeper and greater expression of our core being and ourselves, right? Our uniqueness. But the thing is that it's not about the ego self, it's about the expression of the purpose we came here to be. So if, and this is my premise, if I am life expressing itself through this unique vehicle, that calling is life calling me into service of life. So I'm going to leave it at that at this moment. That seems like a good place to leave that idea for you to be playing with, that those callings are life calling you to the expression it wants from you. You know, that life is using us in its expression, and that's what life is calling for when those callings occur. So Robin says, need to rewatch. Yeah, this is big stuff, actually. This is really, really, really big stuff for us to be presencing ourselves to. So I do invite you to rewatch, play with the ideas, look at yourself, look at your life, look at how you can, the voices are getting louder, the whispers, says Rosalind. Yes, so how can we elevate, how can we invite life to elevate us, to be the fuller expression that we came here to be? That's really what it's about. So with that, I'm Mira Rubin. This is the Core Connection, and I go live here each weekday morning on the Enlightened World Network Facebook page and YouTube channel at 9 a.m. Eastern. And I invite you to check out the other wonderful, wonderful programming on Enlightened World Network, Enlightened World Living, EWN, One with the Earth. And until next time, so much gratitude and appreciation to you and your willingness to engage in these often disruptive, challenging conversations. Until next time, I hope I see you again here really, really soon. Lots and lots of love.